In my hands, I have both the PS5 Slim and Xbox Series X. I've been using both of them for a while now, and there's one of them that I regret getting. So whether you're here because you want to know which one to get between these two consoles, or you're just curious, we're gonna find that out. So let's jump right in. Let's start off with design. So the PS5 Slim features a glossy finish up at the top and a matte finish down below. The black area right here is also glossy. Now the issue with this design is, while it looks very nice to the eye, it scratches very easily. So you can think about it, it's not so much of a problem up here. Down here, when you're putting your ports in, you're gonna get a lot of scratches on this glossy finish. The thing I do like about the PS5 Slim is these plates are customizable. So not so much for the Slim right now, because this is still a new console, but Sony's gonna release new plate covers in early 2024. I spoke about that in my last video, so if you didn't watch my last video where I actually unboxed this PS5 Slim and I used it for a bit, make sure you watch that video. You're gonna see it pop up right now, and the link's also gonna be in the description. But at least when the plates do come out, it's gonna be customizable. You can get red, purple, whatever vibe you're trying to get for your layout. Switching over to the Xbox Series X. I mean, to say the least, the design is very lackluster, if I'm being realistically, right? If I put this on this side and this was a bit bigger, then to be honest, this would kind of look like a fridge. And that's one reason why I do prefer the PS5 Slim's design over the Xbox Series X, is that Sony actually changed something. Even when it comes to ports, Microsoft kept it old school. Sony, in terms of backports, it's the same, yes, except for the fact that the Xbox Series X includes a spot for expandable storage. But on the front side, Sony includes 2 USB-C ports, which Xbox lacks. So yeah, as you can see with the design, Sony really took a big leap forward, and Microsoft really, you know, kept it pretty basic. And that's going to be the theme for most of the features we're going to talk about, is that Sony took more risks, whereas the Xbox kind of lacks the risk taking, you know, for better or for worse. Next thing is the exclusives. The PS5 Slim comes with a lot of exclusives actually. It comes with Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon 2. So there's a lot of exclusives that are limited to just the PS5, so you have to have a PS5 to play. So that's really nice because Sony is really putting effort and investing into, you know, exclusive games. Whereas the Xbox also kind of has exclusives. And if you want to know what I mean by that is, so there's Starfield, there's Halo, there's Forza. All of these you can't play on the PS5. But the issue is you can play it on a PC. So realistically, it's not really an exclusive. With Game Pass, which we're going to talk about more later on, you can basically play all the games I listed, all the new games. So in terms of exclusive, it's not even close. The PS5 is the clear winner when it comes to exclusive games. I mean, for the Xbox, I can't really say that it has exclusives because you can play on a wide variety of different platforms, given that you do have Game Pass. And this is where I think the Xbox really shines compared to the PS5. So Sony offers a PS Plus premium service. It offers you a whole library of games that you can play and just pay a fixed monthly fee. Essentially, you get a lot of titles, but it's nowhere near as good as the Xbox Game Pass. Now, why is that? Because the exclusives that Sony released, so Spider-Man 2, the new God of War, none of those are on the PS Plus Premium. So essentially, you're paying a lot, but you're paying to play older games. So if that's your cup of tea, then sure, why not? But it's $160 per year. But if you're paying that much, you might as well get new games while you're at it. I don't know why Sony doesn't include their own new games into the service. It just really doesn't make sense. Now, in terms of the Series X, it's different because where it really shines is with Game Pass. With Game Pass, you get day one access to the exclusive games. So you're thinking Starfield, for example, was available day one. The new Forza was available day one on Game Pass. So any exclusive that Microsoft releases, you're gonna get that day one using Game Pass. And the thing with Game Pass is, like, the gaming just doesn't stop on the Xbox. I have a PC, so I can use it on my PC. You can play games on your phone using the Xbox controller. You can play it on your tablet. Basically, almost anything with an internet connection, you can play Game Pass games on. And another thing I will say is Microsoft has been buying up a lot of studios. In fact, they recently just bought Activision, the company that makes Call of Duty. So you can expect a lot more games to come on Game Pass than there already is. Now, on the topic of changes is the two controllers. So again, like I said, Sony put an effort into making a more futuristic controller. So there's the haptic feedback, there's a built-in mic inside this controller. So I've been playing Spider-Man 2 for a while now, and it's really fun. The story is really nice. With the controller, there's just added benefits. I just feel more in the game. you'll notice these blue lights. They look really nice. The controller just feels really upgraded from the previous version. Like it feels like Sony really did something. Now that may be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it, because here is the Xbox Series X controller. Now, if you had an Xbox One or even to an extent the Xbox 360, it kind of looks the same. Like Microsoft really hasn't changed much in terms of features for the controller. In fact, here's a pop-up of the 360, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X controller, and realistically look at them and tell me like which major significant difference you really notice. Whereas I'm gonna put the PS3 controller, PS4 controller, and PS5 controller up, and you'll notice a more significant difference between the two controllers. Now, one good thing I will say though is because of this design, I can use the Xbox One controller to play on the Series X. I don't need to buy brand new controllers if I want multiple people to play on the same console. Whereas the PS5 controller, you can use a PS4 controller on the PS5, but you can only use it to play PS4 games. On the same topic, because Microsoft decided not to change a lot of things, this console is surprisingly very much backwards compatible, because not only can you play Xbox One games, but you can play select Xbox 360 games and even select games from the original Xbox, and that console came out in 2001. Don't get me wrong, you can play older PS4 games on this PS5, but the issue is that you can't play PS3 games, PS2 games, PS1 games unless you get the subscription service that Sony offers. In terms of performance, both of these have pretty much the same specs. Now, I'm not going to sit here and mention which one has faster SSD speeds or load times, because I feel like for the average gaming player, 2 seconds difference, 1 second difference, 3 seconds difference, that's not a big deal. But if we're being subjective, the Xbox does have a slightly faster CPU, which runs at 3.8 gigahertz compared to 3.5 gigahertz with PlayStation, but it's nothing noticeable, and it's not anything that, to me, I think should be your deciding factor between these two consoles. Now, if this was the Xbox Series X versus the original PS5, that one came with only 825 gigabytes of storage, so I mean, it would be a clear win for the Xbox Series X, but Sony has cleaned up their act with this iteration, especially considering how big games are these days. In terms of price, both of them retail at $450, but while I was doing some digging online on these consoles, I noticed the Xbox Series X is actually, as of right now, it's a lot cheaper than the PS5 Slim. So if you're on a budget, you're definitely going to want to take a stronger look at the Xbox Series X. You could use the money that you save on getting the console to pick up 1 or 2 games. Now, the one important factor I want to mention to you guys, if you guys are still undecided on which console to get, is you have to take into consideration the console that a lot of your friends are going to be playing. Because realistically, if you think about it, both of these consoles practically do the same thing, which is play games. You shouldn't let 1 or 2 exclusives really decide it for you, or you shouldn't let one streaming service decide it for you. A majority of the games that you're playing, you're going to be able to play them on either console. Now, for the moment that I've been talking about since the beginning of the video is which one do I prefer between these two consoles. Between these two consoles, I use the Xbox more, and that's simply because I like the fact that I can play games not only on this console, but also I can play games on the go. I can play it on my phone, but it's mostly on my laptop when I'm on the go, sometimes when I just want to chill, and I can't lug around a big console, in my backpack. But I'm still gonna use both of these consoles. Obviously, I'm gonna keep this guy around. When exclusives come out for the Xbox, I can just play it on my PC. But when they come out for the PS5, you can just play it on the PS5. So that's why I'm gonna keep this around. But anyways, let me know in the comments below which one you have or which one you prefer. If you guys did like the video, be sure to leave a thumbs up and let me know you guys are enjoying the content. And also be sure to subscribe because there's a lot more content coming out in the future.